What up, bros? This is Brochacho, and we are going to be doing another SE2 replay review. And with me, I have Kaio. Say hi, Kaio.
What's up, guys?
Yep, he's a coach for SE2review.net. So go ahead and go check him out. And today we're going to be doing a PvT versus Brochacho, and on the top we have Timothy. But what's important is what Brochacho's doing, so we're going to take his camera. And there we go. Alright, so Kai, what do you like to do in PvT normally?
Well, generally, I really like to send out my 9 scout. He's doing that because I'd imagine this is a ladder game and getting cheesed is never fun. But generally, I like to make sure I get up a decently fast robo, and with my 9 scout, try and check if they're making 2 Marines at the start. And if they are, then you can see if they're going to try and go for a tech-oriented build or not.
Okay, so what do the 2 Marines mean? So he does get 2 Marines. Well, what does that tell you?
If he gets 2 Marines, he's obviously not going for any add-ons onto his barracks. And if he's not getting a reactor or a tech lab, that tells you that he's probably saving up the minerals to take another geyser. And if he's going to get another geyser, then you can obviously assume that something else, probably factory and generally, if he takes a faster gas, depending on if you sacrifice a probe and go check, you can find out if he's actually going for a Cloak Banshee build or not.
Alright, yeah, that's actually a good point. A lot of players don't know what to do when they're scouting, and, just looking for 2 Marines is gonna help you out a lot in that case. So, we have you scouting around on this map. Is there a certain scouting pattern you like to do on this map? Do you actually play this map?
I have, but then I ended up switching it out. One of the big things that I really didn't like is the position of your expo. It's really hard to defend for Protoss, and so you can get in some pretty awkward situations where you just get your army split up and stuff.
Alright, and here you lose your probe. That was an unnecessary loss. You could have just walked away with that.
Right, generally what I like to do is just hang my probe back. The general timings, these are actually really important to know, is 3 minutes is generally when you want to get your probe out of there because the first Marine will be coming. And you can actually send your probe back in before 3:29 generally. And if he should only still have 1 Marine, or his second one should be just coming out. So if you want to take a second peek, that's generally when you want to do it.
Okay, awesome. Alright, so we walked up that ramp and we saw just the barracks. What does that tell you? Does that tell you anything?
Well, like I said, he did get to see that he was making a second Marine. And so if he sees that, he should know that he should be safe from any early pushes, and he should actually be able to expand a little bit earlier. But what he wants to be thinking is, I need to get a stalker because he's making Marines. So he can just be defended from any, Marine all-in, as we see Timothy just making barracks.
Alright, we actually can't see that because I have his camera off.
Oh.
Well, that's cool. Okay, so you're chrono boosting out your cyber core, and you are just making some gateways now. Getting supply block is not good. Make sure you're always making your pylons on time.
This is actually a very common spot where a lot of people get. I always get supply block on 26 sometimes. If that's when I get supply block, that's when I get supply block. It's actually really important you don't get supply blocked, especially really early on as Protoss. It's like the worst thing that could ever happen because there's a lot of pushes Terrans like to do, and you always just want to make sure you get that pylon up.
Yeah, that's when do you like to make that pylon? Because I know as Zerg, a lot of the times where you get supply block is usually around the 28th, so it's pretty similar in that case. But when is I guess that's your 3rd pylon going up?
Well, sometimes I'll even go out of my way to put up a pylon extremely early, around 20 supply, just to make sure I don't hit that block. But this is really good. We see him patrolling a probe out in front, just so he can make sure he knows when any pushes are coming. Even instead of that, you might just want to take the Zelnaga because that's between the two bases. But both of them are really, really good.
Yep, I do like that. That's my little trick if I'm having my Zergling out there. That's exactly what I do. And it's always good to have that. Alright, so he got a Robo Facility and a Twilight Council at the same time. In my opinion, I don't know if that's really good economically. What do you think about that?
Well, I mean, there are certain things you can do with it, but in all seriousness, you can't, on one base, you cannot afford the gas like that.
Exactly.
And getting out the observer is smart. Generally, you want to have it out before 7 minutes. You want to try and get that Robo Bay out, try and cut the council, and so you can check for Cloak Banshees or anything like that that might be coming. But um, getting charges isn't a bad idea either. But generally, you want to do that after you expand.
Okay, and now you see him moving out with a bunch of Marines. Right now you should be warping in some units.
Yeah, when you got attacked there, you want to try and make sure when your probes die or whatever scouting units you have, that you take a second to just stop what you're doing, just stop and look at what killed your unit. And as you saw, there's just Marines. So you want to try and get these force fields right and just hold your ramp. And right here, you're losing Zealots needlessly. You can easily micro your Stalkers and just keep everything else back. Stalkers do really well, especially in that position, where you can just keep a limited area and micro.
Okay, and what's important also is that you kind of needlessly also lost your sentries, which were going to be really important in holding off that push. Alright, and right now it's not looking too good. He's doing quite a bit of damage on you. Alright, but you are able to hold this off, so that's okay.
You
And
do
right now,
have an.
go ahead.
I was gonna say you do have an observer in his base, so you want to be a little bit more proactive with that. You want to try and make sure that you can slightly see his amount of Marines, but you want to be making sure he's not doing something like expanding behind it, because if he is doing something like that, then you're getting more and more behind. But on the other hand, it looks like he was just making Marines, so your response is actually kind of risky. If he's staying one base, you probably want to do the same thing.
Yeah, especially after the damage he did, you're going to want to do that. And if you had that observer in place, you would have saw this coming. And I feel like you got a little caught off guard with this one, again.
In this position, it was kind of important that you didn't warp in a Zealot, but rather a Sentry. You always want to be thinking as Protoss, what can I do to defend these things with warping in as little as I need? If you just would have warped in one Sentry, you could have effectively cut this force in half and probably done a pretty decent job of defending it.
Alright, so now you don't really have too many more units. You took out that pylon, and you are forced to defend with probes, and you're just going to run around. Okay. And canceling this Nexus right now would be okay, just to spend that money on something else, but actually you don't have the production to do that. Alright, so in this position, is there anything Brochacho can do really to survive the next push?
Well, I mean, he sees what's coming right now. He sees all these Marines and tanks. But what he should be focusing on is, while he's getting attacked, if you know you're going to get punished for, letting him into your base or something, you want to keep up your production. That's the biggest thing that really, makes the difference in pressured situations. If you can keep making probes or keep making units, it really minimizes the damage you actually take.
Yeah, missing cycles on your warp gates, and you can be making units and you just forget to or not, that's going to be huge when a push comes. You want to have as many units as possible. And there you go, he GG's you. Some BM. Alright, and that is the end of the game. Alright, so what are the main things you think Brochacho should be working on? I think one would be, just he actually did pretty good with the scouting, but be more active with that observer so he knows exactly what's coming, and also maybe work on his build order a bit, because I think, like you said, the affording a Twilight Council and a robo facility really isn't too possible on just 2 gas. What do you think? What else?
Right. I think the biggest thing for Protoss players is just getting down a really good build, and I would suggest 9 pylon, 13 gate, 15 gas, and then if you see him making 2 marines, it's really important. You can actually skip a first zealot or sentry and just get 1 stalker and send that stalker to attack. Um, and from there, you can add a second gateway at 27 and a robo at 30, and then another gateway at 35. And then generally, you can just safely expand at 40. And with this kind of build, you can fill the gap basically with any units you want. Just getting that first stalker to scout the Terran base really gives you the early scouting, and by the time your observer's out from that robo, you can safely defend against any kind of Banshee rush or anything like that. It's a really safe build, and I think it would really help against, when you don't have the scouting information you need.
Okay, awesome. Okay, let me see if there's any questions in my chat right now. Hey guys, any questions? Alright, looks like they're actually a bit quiet. Alright, anyway. Okay, do you have anything else to add, Kyle, before we wrap this up?
Um, I don't know. I think the other big thing is if you're just seeing Marines, for sure, like we said, Twilight Council and the Robo facility isn't really necessary. Um, Honestly, I've been starting to just defensively get a robotic support bay, and that way I can get a Colossus out if I need to. It's not required. It's kind of like if you see a Zerg player put down a Roach Warren, whether it be early or late, just because they put down a Roach Warren doesn't necessarily mean they have to make roaches. So what that does is it lets you play reactive instead. And so if you see him make a lot of Marines, then you just simply make a Colossi and you can be defensive with it. And if he doesn't make Marines, then you don't have to make a Colossi. You can just go back to making your gateway units or whatever else. It's just, it gives you the ability to branch out and play reactive instead of just kind of guessing.
Okay. Thank you very much, Kaya, for joining me on this SC2 replay review. Okay,
No problem.
so yeah, guys. So if you want your replay reviewed, go on sc2review.net and we will take a look. Okay. Again, this is Brochacho, and with me I have Kaio. Say bye, Kaio.
Bye, guys.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for watching.